Welcome back. As we told you earlier, the President's Oil Spill Commission's report on the Gulf disaster is out. It's blaming management at BP, Transocean, and Halliburton for failing to take precautions that led to the explosion and the spill. And it says another accident could happen again. Joining me this week for the mix, Republican Congressman Joe Barton of Texas, Chairman Emeritus of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, and Democratic Congressman Jay Inslee of Washington, who is on that committee, also co-chair of the House Sustainable Energy and Environment Coalition. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Oil Spill Commission report is out. Accident could happen again. A series of poor decisions made by management. Joe, do you think we're ready to resume drilling?
I think we are. I don't have any problem with the conclusions of the investigation. I do think industry had gotten a little lax. I think they've learned their lessons and are continuing to learn. But I do think we can safely resume drilling, and I think we need to resume drilling.
How can we really tackle the safety issues? How can we resume drilling after hearing the results of this report?
Well, that's the first time in 40 years there'd been a major accident like that in the Gulf of Mexico. Hopefully there won't be another one ever.
Systemic problems throughout the industry.
I would take issue with the word systemic. I would think more they had gotten lax because they had had such a long-term success ratio.
This is read by the Republican co-chair of the commission. Jay, can the permitting process tackle these safety issues?
Well, I think the American public, I think, would not want to drive a car if they had a car that had this type of, fatal disaster, and the mechanic came back and told you you've got systemic problems throughout the car, and it's not going to be safe until you do some more work. Americans, I don't think, would drive that car again, and I think there's considerable concern that we're not ready to do that because of these systemic problems.
I mean, look how long it took the nuclear industry to
it does, and these are very deep. If you read the report about what happened in this incident, the thing that's disturbing to me, frankly, about this particular incident is that it had such multiple layers of very erroneous decision-making or lack of decision-making. It wasn't just one, all humans, any human can make a mistake, but it wasn't just one human that happened. This was really a systemic failure of multiple system failures, and that's the thing that gives us most concern. So I don't think the American public is comfortable yet driving that car with such problems. Doesn't mean we're not going to get back there, but I think the industry needs more work.
Joe, need more work?
Well, I'll agree that they need more work. With oil prices approaching $100 a barrel and 80% of our new production coming from the deep Gulf, to continue to not drill in the Gulf of Mexico.
But would you start deepwater drilling today?
I would, on a case-by-case basis, review the existing permits and the platforms that were in operation before the moratorium, and those that can pass muster, I would let them resume drilling. Yes, I would.
Okay, let's move on to the jobs picture. We heard earlier in the show, the President's big stress is on developing clean energy jobs, also amid new concerns about the deficit. Where do you think the new jobs are going to be created, and can it be done?
Well, Jay and I have a little difference of opinion about what is a clean energy job, but we're both on the same side that we need more jobs in America, and we both support clean energy.
What do you think? Is any hiring going to be done in clean energy in this kind of
bet,
environment?
and it is being done, and that's what we're excited about, the progress we're being made. The only problem is happening 5 to 10 times faster in China than it's happening in the United States. We are very much in a global race right now, and it's a race where the Chinese are out of the chute faster than us. They're putting about 5 to 10 times more investment into some of these new technologies. We're doing well where we have innovation, but we've got to get it to the commercialization stage. That includes commercializing the production of lithium-ion batteries. We're starting the first production facility in Michigan because of the stimulus bill that we passed. But the Chinese are ahead of us, and we've got to really get out of the gate to catch them.
The EPA has started regulating greenhouse gases. What will this do to the job picture?
It's going to kill jobs, hurt jobs. I strongly oppose some of the initiatives that the EPA is taking, and I will use my position as Chairman Emeritus on the Energy and Commerce Committee to try to bring some common sense to the EPA regulations.
What happens if the EPA's authority in this area is taken away?
I don't think it will be. We're not going to allow what I'll be calling the dirty air bill to strip clean energy jobs. If we do continue to enforce the clean air bill, which was a bipartisan success since 1970, and it has helped us, but now we have dirty and dirtier air because of particulates and CO2. We're not going to strip and gut the ability for Uncle Sam to give us cleaner air. And when we do that, when we preserve cleaner air, we're going to grow clean energy jobs. When we start to force investment into solar and wind and maybe some advanced nuclear. Maybe there's a future for coal to find a way to sequester CO2, but we have to have a mechanism to compel investment into these new technologies. And that is the EPA authority to insist that we keep our air cleaner. So clean air and clean energy jobs go together. If we remove this, it's like taking your foot off the accelerator. That's when the Chinese are going to eat our lunch. So I see this as a job creation mechanism as well as a health issue for us. And if we look at it that way, I think American know-how is going to win this battle.
Tell me what happens to this battle if gas prices keep on rising, they start heading to $4. This typically gets the attention of every American. Could it upend the entire legislative agenda and your plans?
Well, that's a different issue. I do want to take issue with one thing Jay just said. Air quality in America is excellent and getting better. It's not getting worse. And there's I don't know what he's talking about when he talks about the dirty air bill. I shouldn't even use the term, but I'm a co-sponsor of the Clean Air Act amendments in 1990. I strongly support clean air, but I don't support punitive regulation that has the effect of killing hundreds of thousands of jobs in America and having them go overseas to China. That just doesn't make sense to me.
So where are the jobs going to come from?
Well, hopefully they'll come from a combination of what Jay strongly supports, which is some of these new technologies, which I've supported also, and part are going to come from developing our conventional resources in the oil and gas industry and clean coal, so that we create an economic base that's cost competitive in the world economy.
Okay, one quick comment from each of you before we end this. Jay, what would you say is the one thing you would like this Congress to accomplish, piece of legislation that you hope will be passed this term?
I think we're in the mode of preserving our existing efforts, and I think keeping the Environmental Protection Act, Clean Air Act in functioning, and what I was referred to as the Dirty Air Act, there will be an effort to strip the EPA of the ability to enforce the Clean Air Act. And that's going to be, I think, the biggest discussion we have in the next 2 years. And we hope we'll eventually get to a place where we can find a bipartisan consensus that we have a problem in our hands to deal with. And why I say the air is getting worse is because we've had significant increases in very, very dangerous gases, including carbon dioxide and methane. And those two right now are changing the climate we live in. We got a biblical flood in Australia. We had 20 million people dispossessed in Pakistan. That needs to change.
Okay, Joe, what's the one piece of legislation realistically that you think
talking
can get
energy
done?
Or generically?
Energy, of course.
It's not going to be a real activist Congress in terms of energy legislation. I do think we're going to do oversight over in the Environmental Protection Agency and make sure they don't exceed their authority under the Clean Air Act. But I don't know that there's
your priority?
any effort to try to go back and change the Clean Air Act in a negative way.
All right, we'll have to see how that goes. Congressman Joe Barton, Jay Inslee, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
And
Happy
your
New Year.
insight. We appreciate it.